If you are going into a real estate transaction, you want to buy, you want to sell real estate, you're going into a joint venture, any form of real estate transaction, and you are particular about security of your funds, security, protecting your interest, about your peace of mind, you cannot do without a lawyer. And this video is for you. But if you are, when you go to war, you have to have a shield. So you are fighting the war, you have a shield protecting you. It's the same way. Now, when it comes to real estate transactions, there are two broad areas and ways whereby a real estate lawyer works in your interest. The first would be to prevent you from running into trouble at all. And the second would be, okay, some troubles would come no matter how much you might try. But how do you get out of it? Okay, so we have the preventive mode, and then we have the curative mode. Okay, and in today's video I would be sharing exactly what these two modes are. What exactly would a real estate lawyer do for you in such an instance? Welcome. Now let me quickly state that a real estate lawyer is a lawyer who is specialized and has experience in real estate and property transactions. When it comes to the proactive, the preventing, protecting your interest mode, there are four major ways that a lawyer protects your interest in a real estate transaction. The first is due diligence. Now, due diligence is I'm going into this transaction. Due diligence is something that we do every day. And let me give an example. You want to enroll your children or your wards in a school. You are going to get information about the school. You're going to ask your friends, check reviews online, check out the school, drive to the school, ask questions. That's due diligence in that case. Now, when it comes to real estate, you've got to be extra careful when it comes to buying or investing in properties, because just by taking a look at the property, you could discover a lot of things. But there are also a lot of things you can discover that relates to the title and the ownership of that property. And I'll give you an example. A client of mine wanted to buy a property and he engaged my services, and then I got on a call with the seller, and I asked a simple question. Okay, so these plots of land you want to sell to my client, you're the seller, right? Yes. You are the owner, right? He said yes. So how did you get to own the property? And that was it. There was no answer, and that was how my client narrowly missed losing some couple of millions of naira, because you can't sell what is not yours. You can't give. So ownership of a property is a bundle of legal rights. Now you have to establish that those legal rights exist. Now I could have the legal right to sell a property to you because I bought it. I could have the legal rights because I inherited it. I could have a legal right because it was gifted to me. The ways by which you could come about become the owner of a property are diverse. But whichever way, a real estate lawyer would be able to ask the necessary questions and verify, because it is not just about saying I own this or this, it is about providing evidence. And as lawyers, because if you have to go to court, the judge is not going to decide your case because they love your beautiful face or your handsome face. The judge is going to be decide your case based on facts backed up by evidence. And so that's what we also put in mind when you're buying a real estate and you are doing due diligence. Who owns this property? How do they get about ownership of this property? If it's a built property, does it have the necessary building approvals? Is it built in the right place? There are places that you shouldn't build. Close to canals is a no-no. Building under a high tension wire is a no-no. These are the things. Building on a setback when there's a major road, and we know that every major road there should be some certain meters between the road and a house. You then go and build something that is the front of the house is directly on the road. No, that is going to be trouble. These are the things we look out for. Was there a building permit? Okay, it's very important, because you don't want to really buy a property and then discover legal issues later in future. Okay, and this due diligence involves asking the right questions, reviewing the necessary documents, tracing the history of the property, reviewing all the records that are involved with that property. If it does not have records, is there oral evidence? Reviewing everything and then being able to say, okay, this checks out, this property's title is confirmed, this person you want to actually buy from actually owns this property, and there are no legal issues. And all right, so the due diligence aspect is a very important role that a lawyer plays when it comes to your real estate Transaction. Now, the second very important role that a lawyer plays is the contract drafting and review. So, if you are going into a real estate transaction, it usually involves a lot of drafting of contracts, reviewing the contract, negotiating the contract. So, if my client is buying a property, I'm going to be drafting a contract to transfer ownership of the property to my client. We're going to be sending it to the seller's lawyer to review. And if there are times inside that we also have to negotiate, we would negotiate. This is this work of lawyers. And it's all to ensure that the interest of each party is protected. So I'm there to protect the interest of my client. The seller's lawyer is there to protect the interest of his or our clients too. All right. So that is why it's important. And when it comes to contract drafting, it is not just about a piece of paper and something written on it. There are laws that state that this type of contract, this is what it should entail, and this is what it should entail. There are clauses that has to be in every type of contract to make it valid. And if they don't have those clauses, it does not protect your interest. It is almost like a worthless piece of paper. For instance, you're buying a property, it is important that the recital, so the deed of assignment is the document that would show that you have bought the property and that transfers ownership to you. Now, it's important the deed of assignment has the necessary clauses. The parties, they have to be parties that are known to law. We have, when we're drafting contract, there are parties that are not known to law. And if a contract is drafted and the party is not known to law, the entire contract is invalid. Okay, so you have to ensure that the necessary parties known to law are in that contract. The recital is very, very key. The recital shows the history of the property, because whatever happens, whatever issues that the person selling to you has, if they sell to you with regards to the title of the property, I mean, if you buy it, you're going to inherit the legal issues. So that's why these clauses is very important. That's why we do the due diligence and why we do write the recital containing the history. Now we have the clauses that will transfer ownership to you. There's a way to transfer ownership. Okay, it's very important that it is properly drafted. We've got the indemnity clause to protect you, and a whole lot of other clauses that has to be in that contract for a when you're buying a property. And depending on any other type of real estate transaction you are going into, it's important to abide by these rules to make your contract valid. And that's what a real estate lawyer does in that situation. Let me know in the comment section if this is helpful to you. So that is number two. Now, number three is to perfect your title. So, if when you buy a property, for instance, you get a contract of sale, you have a deed of assignment. I will leave a link to some videos where I went into a deep dive on these two documents. Now, the next step you should take is to perfect your title. And perfecting your title for a property that already has a C of O from the previous owner means that you apply for governor's consent to your own deed of assignment. However, if the property didn't have a certificate of occupancy before, you can then go ahead and apply for a certificate of occupancy. This is expressly stated under the Land Use Act, which is a law that guides land transactions in Nigeria. Okay, this is what a lawyer also does for you, because perfecting your title is very important. You want to finish the transaction and not do it halfway. Now, what is number four? Collaborating with other professionals. Now, it takes a village to raise a child, and it's the same thing with real estate. For a successful real estate venture, it literally takes a village, not just a lawyer. We need a lot of other professionals. And as a lawyer, the role of a real estate lawyer is usually to be a rallying point to get you to connect with other real estate professionals that you would need. And they include a surveyor, they include an architect, developers, engineers, and so many more, depending on the particular transaction that you are going into. And definitely, the aim of collaboration is simple: is to ensure that you have overall success with your real estate transaction. So you cannot do it in a on your own alone. So that is for the proactive part. That is for, okay, I want to protect my interests. I want to avoid issues before they arise. Now, the second area, broad area, where a real estate lawyer works with you for your real estate transaction is to resolve disputes. So oftentimes You might have done everything right, but a dispute arises. It might not be with any of the initial issues that I've talked about in this video. It could come up at any time. A real estate lawyer will advise you based on the particulars and the circumstances of each case what to do. So when it comes to resolving disputes, you can resolve disputes by mediation, you can resolve disputes by litigation, that's going to court, you can resolve disputes by arbitration. But a real estate lawyer would look at each circumstance of the case and then be able to guide you and say, this would be the best route for you to take to resolve this dispute. Okay, so this is what a real this pretty much sums the two broad areas of how a real estate lawyer works for you. I hope this video has been helpful. And yes, this is a review from our clients whom we have worked with in real estate transaction. We've had a number of our clients who are in Nigeria and who are in diaspora, and who are very particular about acquiring secure, scam-free real estate using our tested and trusted legal framework that I just shared. And these are the reviews that they have. All right, let me know if you have questions on any of the things I've talked about today. Feel free to share them in the comment section. If this has been helpful, feel free to let me know in the comment section. If you want me to you have a particular question that you want me to make a video on, you can also comment in the comment section. I look forward to reading all your comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.